if you're in the right place, you can go like this and go like nod, and I can hear the rocks in your head going. Okay, thank you for joining us. I know you've already started out with a wonderful day with 2 presentations already at 9 o'clock and noon, and here you're back for more at 3 o'clock. That's great. I would like to just say that it's really fun to be able to represent CATESOL and do this co-sponsoring thing with the CCSF ESL Colloquium. So thanks to Wynn and Barbara for their leadership in putting the conference speakers together and getting all of you here, because now I know you had to do this sort of two-step. But I guess if you are a mover, then it's a good thing, because sitting down at your computer for a long time, not really so good for your health. But we will try to make it interesting enough for you to keep up with us and learn something and share with others. Certainly what you have is a great deal of knowledge. Right? Am I right? Are you excited about this semester? Or are you feeling kind of like scared? Show me your face. Show me the face. Show us all the face of you as you are thinking about what it's going to be like for you to start this semester totally online. Show me. Freeze it. Freeze that face. All right, look at those faces. If you're in gallery view, you can see a variety of faces. Oh, yes, very interesting. And some are you like, ah. And some are like, no. There's a little bit of fear involved in trying something new, isn't there? But some of you may have already had some experience as we pivoted suddenly in March. Am I right? Did some of you already start that? Yep. And maybe you have some baby steps that you already took and you're willing to go a little deeper into it. So that's really, really great. Okay, so we've got some plans for today to help you make this session valuable to you. And what we'll do is start out with a poll. You know what polls are, right? Polls are those things that say, can you tell us a little about yourself and about stuff like the first question. So our first question is, what kind of device are you using? Are you on a computer? Are you on a tablet, like an iPad? Or are you accessing today on a phone? What's happening on your computer? And our second question there is, what kind of students do you teach? Now, as you know, we have not only CCSF faculty, who we assume are teaching at the college level, but we also have opened this up to other members of CATESOL and even some non-members. So let's find out who our attendees are today. Also, I have this feeling that some of you wear more than one hat, and you may teach at more than one place. Is that right? Yeah? Okay. So the third question is, what's your experience with Zoom? Never used it? Done it as a, as a participant or a presenter, can teach it, all of those things. Okay, so in 3 seconds, I'm going to end the poll and we'll find out what our audience looks like. 3, 2, 1, end the poll. So what do we see? I'm going to share the results, which means that it should come out on your screen. Tell me if this shows up on your screen. The first one says devices, and it looks like 90% of you are using a computer. Nobody is using a tablet, and 1% is on a phone. Right, okay. Do you think your students are like that? I see a lot of heads going to the left and the right, which is good for your neck. It's really good for exercising your neck. But it probably means your students are not all going to be 98% on a computer. What do you think they'll use most? A tablet or a phone? Computer, a tablet,
phones.
Phones. Phone. So that's what I thought. I might show you what it looks like on a phone in case, because as a teacher, you're going to use as big a screen as you possibly can, and you probably have the means to do so. But our students don't always do, and they usually have something really small that they carry around in their pocket. So we want to know what it looks like on there, if there are some similarities and some differences. So we'll look at that. What type of students do you teach? What do we have for that? We have most of you are teachers of non-credit community college. Not a surprise. And that's 51%. And we've got the next largest group is adult ed for 24%. Nobody in this particular group teaches K through 12. We've got some credit community college, and we don't have any IEPs. We have a few who do some tutoring. Alrighty, let's take a look at your experience with Zoom. All right, so some of you, a lot of you, well, 29% of you have hosted or taught 6 or more sessions with Zoom. Great. And 22% of you have used Zoom as a participant, but not as a presenter. And I was glad to see that you have 0 in the first category, because this is not your first experience using Zoom, right? Someone has attended a Zoom coaching session before. None of you have admitted to accessing the Zoom tutorials or videos. What else? A few of you, yeah, 7 of you say, I can teach Zoom to other people, so why are you here? Because you want my job? I thought so. All right, let's see. How are you feeling? So some people noted they're a little nervous about using Zoom. Someone said that you're excited to use Zoom. And some of you have like blah feelings. You just have blah feelings. You don't have any feelings about using Zoom to teach your students. That's okay. Maybe you haven't got the feeling yet, but maybe the feeling will come in sooner or later. So like, what do you hope or want or need, or, like, what do you desire to learn about using Zoom as a teacher? So I'm gonna first put this into the chat. And I think you all know where the chat is. Do you all know where the chat is? If you don't, I will tell you. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a toolbar. There's a green one that says share, and to the left of it is a chat bubble icon. And if you click that, the chat will open. Sometimes it'll open smack in the middle of your screen and you have to move it aside. And sometimes it just picks itself up and glues it to the right side, which is nice. And you've been using it already, it's probably in a stable position. So I just now want to check that I'm putting it into everyone, and then I'll send this link so that everyone in the chat can see it. So in your breakout rooms, you're gonna greet your fellow wannabe Zoom using or Zoom better using teachers and discuss the question, what do you want, need, or hope to learn about Zoom that'll help you teach your ESL students? And then could you do this thing, like one person is a recorder and types all of your answers into that Google Doc? Nod your heads and tell me you'll do that. Okay, good. Thank you. I can hear the shaking. Now, I'm going to put you in breakout rooms, and you can say hello to your fellow partners. There'll be 4 or 5 people in the room, and you can chit-chat about what you want to learn and what you need to, and what about Zoom is maybe troublesome for you that you hope that maybe you'll get some tips on today. Here we go. When you get your invitation, click join. I stopped you and some of you were in the midst of your recording and reporting to your to the Google Doc. Are you needing a little more time? Did I stop you too soon? You're doing okay? Okay.
Marcia, our group wasn't aware. One member of our group knew that there was a Google Doc and I didn't. So I'm sorry, I was trying to do other things, but where can we find this Google Doc?
In the chat before I sent you to the break room.
Okay.
I put a Google Doc.
I see it.
link.
Yep. Got it.
I wonder, are you able to see it?
Yep.
You are. Okay, goody. Now the trick for me is to go through my drive and find out where the heck that is for me to look at it so we could see it together, right?
I think it's in Finder if you have a Mac.
No, what I mean is as the owner of the doc.
Yeah, you have to go to Drive. Masha, go to Drive.
I'm finding. No, what I need to do is I'm in my drive and I'm also trying to multitask by answering Barbara's question. And so I've got one ear here and one ear there. So now I think I found myself. And then we'll be able to see what some of the responses are, even as you all type them, because some of you.
Are you using a PC?
No, I'm not using a PC. I'm using a Mac.
Okay, so where do you find this document?
Okay, so you're not going to find the document.
No, but I'd like to know for teaching purposes.
Okay, so we will talk about that part later. That's a different thing, okay? So that's about how do you use Google Docs and how do you use forms. So we can talk about that later, but let's see what people have to say about the kinds of things that are burning questions or questions that people have about what they want to do learning about Zoom. How to find the Zoom breakout, and are you able to see my screen now? I'm showing you some. Okay.
Yes.
Learn how to get set up student breakout rooms, co-share with students. How does the students in the breakout rooms share a worksheet or something to work on? How do we teach our students how to troubleshoot problems when they're having with technology, when they're distance learning? What are some good strategies? How to let's see, polls and breakout rooms. Let's see, how does the teacher share screen, main session and breakout room? We'd like to see screenshots of breakout room invitations on different devices. Why can't students sometimes see them? Where do they hide? Breakout rooms, how to host in general, polls, how to help students troubleshoot, learning all the tricks on how to host. Well, we're kind of doing the basics right now, so I'm not sure we're gonna get to all the tricks, but we'll try to get trickier, okay? Let's see. How does it look different on a phone? Does the Google form go to you? I can answer that right away. Yes, as the owner of the form which I created, then it's in my drive, and then I go to my drive and I get all the responses. That's what I'm sharing with you right now through the screen sharing function of Zoom. Let's see. How does the teacher make sure that the students in the breakout rooms are on task? Good question. We'll talk about that. How do we help direct low-level students? Very important, right? Low-level students when using a phone. And how do we help students with technical difficulties? Yes, students have trouble, and we're not there to like help them in the classroom face to face. What can we do to show them stuff? I'm going to be showing you, hopefully giving you some answers to some of these questions. 2 out of 3 have not taught with Zoom yet. So learning how to use Zoom from scratch and also how to show additional camera information. Viewing Zoom on iPhones, using the whiteboard on Zoom. Sorry, we were chatting and comparing. Okay. How to use Zoom basics, how to use extra features in breakout rooms, need interactive activities that can be done in breakout rooms. How does a phone interaction differ from computer? Can we pool while students are in breakout room? What does that mean? I don't understand, teacher. What means it that? Does somebody know what that means? Pool. Can we pool?
Can you do a poll, I guess, as the instructor?
Poll, P-O-L-L.
Yeah.
No, I can answer that. No, you can't do a poll while they're in breakout rooms. Learn how to use the breakout room, okay, and make sure students get invitations clearly and can access Zoom room, maybe breakout room. Oh, maybe just getting on. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Screen sharing effectively and toggling between documents, websites, and audio. Teaching techniques beyond breakout rooms. Well, where would we go besides that? How to assign students to breakout rooms. I'm brand new to Zoom. How do I bring students to Zoom for their first class? Beginning high 3, not tech savvy. Only 2 students responding to my remind texts. How do I bring students? Okay, just a little advertisement here. We do have a session tomorrow on low level activities for low tech people. And I'm going to be speaking very slowly tomorrow, but that's if you have, this is with your role playing a low student so that we can kind of get in the mood for it. All right, that's tomorrow at 3. Let's see, how do I bring students to Zoom if they're ABC 1, 2, 3 ESL level and not tech savvy? That is a big challenge. I'm not sure we will answer that all today, but we'll try. Learning tips for beginners, learn what Zoom looks like for students on a phone, how best to teach them to use the technology, how to show them where to text. Yes, I will try. Elderly learners, well, it depends on how elderly. I've got to take care of my elderly folks who are 96 and 100. I'm not teaching them. So my answer is, well, not those people, but the ones who come to class, we will definitely try to help them with it. What do my students see on their phones when they're doing Zoom, okay? How to teach effectively to students who are using their phones, how to make the breakouts rooms more engaging, learn ways for lower levels to understand via Zoom, want students to feel comfortable on Zoom for all levels, how to keep Zoom interesting with multiple activities. I want to know how to do the polls for my students and how to handle them on the phone, Zoom on the phone for my students. Any tips? Kinesthetic activities. Ooh, come tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, so how to access the whiteboard so students could look at questions and prompts while in breakout rooms. What features can students use on phones? Game techniques. Okay, want to learn how to set up a poll, more breakout rooms, how to host. We've all been in the participant role, but we haven't had a class using the platform. How to get students to use 2 applications at the same time on their phone. Well, depends on how tech savvy they are and how much they understand English and how clearly you analyze each little baby step to teach them. Let's see, how can students choose their own partner for the breakout room? No, they can't. They cannot choose their own partner from a breakout room. You can choose for them. You can either do random, which most of us have been doing today, just randomly put you in groups, or you can do purposefully. Well, I did some purposefully. That's when people came in, like they came in later, they fell out and they came back in, and then I sort of pushed them into another room. But you could also, when you know you have students, like in this type of a situation, we don't know who's coming, so we do random. But when you have your own class and you have a class roster, then you can set it up and your breakout rooms in advance. But they can't choose each other, not through the system. They can just say, I want to work with Rachel, and then maybe you can do that. Let's see, how, breakout room, I said it because it access Zoom, link in Canvas. Oh, you don't access this, let's see. You're going to have your Canvas shell, and then you can, if you have set up a conferred Zoom meeting, then you can take that link and put it into your Canvas shell, and then students can click on it. That's probably the easiest one. How to use Google Docs, Whiteboard.
Canvas?
Uh-huh.
What is Canvas?
Okay, so Canvas is with a big C, and it means it's the name of something that we call an LMS, which is short for Learning Management Software or Learning Management System. Also, it is something that community colleges in California and other institutions use to host courses, whether they're face-to-face or now all online. So they contain all of the material that, the teaching material that you would like to put in there, and there's a way for students to interact. Who asked that question?
Alison Goodsell.
Okay, Allison.
Thank you.
Do you know anything of, have you heard of Moodle?
I
Which
have,
is
but
it?
I don't know it. Is it
Oh,
a
okay.
doc? No.
Okay, so it is a big shell in which we keep all of our materials and put links so students can go outside the shell and then come back in and do a lot of work. And that's sort of the place where the class lives, especially now that we're doing all of this remotely. Did I kind of explain that well
Sort
enough
of.
for you to get? Okay, yeah. It's a big question, but we're not really going to address Canvas because that's something I think we spend all summer learning about, right?
Ah, okay.
Tried.
Yeah.
We
All
tried.
right. Well,
Oh,
thank
we
you.
try. Yeah, we try very much. I went through so many learning management systems like Blackboard and Angel Learning, and I can't all remember all the ones. I started with nothing and cobbled things together back in the day. When I started distance learning, you guys, was back in the 80s. And you know what that was? 80s? Does anybody have any idea what distance learning was like in the 80s?
I have no idea.
Okay, phone, and the phone didn't even look like this. The phone had those, you know, two big parts, one here and one there. It was video. Okay, so I was on video, and that was streamed out. And anybody at a distant site wanted to interact with me, they had to pick up a telephone, dial in, and then somebody would. So do you think ESL students did that? No, they didn't. I didn't actually do that, but that's how, I mean, that's how long ago I started doing distance learning. And now I haven't heard this term of distance education for a long time, because now we're all talking about remote learning, and we're blending synchronous with asynchronous. So synchronous means what? At the same time. So right now we are meeting in a synchronous environment. And so with our students, we may have hours that we are doing synchronous learning, where we are in front of this camera going blah, 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 and giving all sorts of activities. And other assignments are asynchronous, where we say, okay, now go off and do this workbook or these practices or write this essay and then submit it, or somehow do some other interactions, but not while I'm looking at you through my camera, all right? So, okay, I got off the topic. What was my topic? My topic was, what the heck do we want to know today? And what are we going to be able to learn about? All right, well, I'll tell you what, I've got a plan here, and I'm hoping that this plan will help us get through both as a participant and mostly as a host, because all of you have had experience participating. None of you are here for your first experience in Zoom. And I just want to let you know, I am using a Mac, and I will show you pictures of things that I take on my Mac, but I do believe that whether you're using a Mac or a Windows computer, that the icons and everything will look the same. I also took pictures from my iPhone, but I believe that the Android kind of looks the same too. So when you're looking at mobile devices in general, it'll look like that. And if you use a tablet, such as an iPad, I'm not showing you pictures of that because in my experience, there are students who are using phones at a greater rate than anybody using iPads.
Okay.
Is that what your experience is? Maybe? Anyway, so I'm showing you those two. All right, so as a host, I'm in the position of host. My co-hosts are Barbara and Wynn, because I gave them the right to be the co-host. So you can do that too. You can give the right to be what is called an alternative host or a co-host to other people that you wish to have more control over how everything's going within the situation. So if you can co-teach, or you are doing an advanced class and you want to give permissions to other advanced students to have controls, you can also do that. And of course, if you're doing a presentation, you might have a co-presenter. We are going to look at some selected basic functions for teaching, how to create an account to become a co-host, scheduling a meeting, editing your profile, deciding on Zoom meetings, and a few other things along the way, okay? So if we look at participating in a Zoom meeting, Now, I'm not showing this so much for you folks because you folks already know how to do this, otherwise you wouldn't have gotten here. But you're gonna have to teach your students, right? And your students don't all know how to do this yet. You will have to teach them that they will need to join a meeting from their device. In this case, this is the look of from a computer. And so here's what happens is they type in the address to zoom.us. Notice it's not .com, it's .us. And the first time you probably will be prompted to download the Zoom app to your computer. It's better to use the Zoom app than the browser, although both are possible. Use the Zoom app and it has it's just a lot more stable. Then when you click join a meeting right here, it will bring up this icon here, which is what it looks like after you've downloaded Zoom to your computer. Then you click join a meeting. That's not so hard, right? So what do you have to do? There are a couple of things you have to enter. You need to put in your name. You need to enter a meeting ID number, and then you need to click Zoom. Sorry, you don't click Zoom, you click join. If you are returning to a room that has been used, but that you have used before, it may show up in your list, and then you just have to select it to get there. Now, I've given you instead a complete link, right? So you may receive a complete link in an email or a text message that allows you to access the Zoom session without entering the meeting or the ID or password, because it's all collected and embedded in the link. So today, when you came today, I'm assuming, because you came through our CATESOL system, event registration, the way I set up the event registration, I put the link in your confirmation email. So you should have received a message saying, oh, you signed up for what, and it has a link on it, and you just clicked. Am I right? Okay, that's the easy way. But it's good to know the other way too, just in case. Like sometimes in your email, you may truncate your link, and you know, things get broken up and you sort of know what the system is. You've got to put a link, an ID in it. Your email should also tell you what that meeting ID is, and they should give you separately those sorts of things, so you can pick it up, copy it, and paste it into those appropriate boxes. It's good to know that the long way, because the short way sometimes doesn't work, or you know, some transaction doesn't work quite well. As you know, the meeting may be recorded, and you will, if so, you will hear a voice that says, "This meeting is being recorded." Did you hear that one today? If you did, that's what's going on. So you have a choice. You can leave the meeting saying, "I don't want to be in this recording," or you can just say, "Okay," and click continue. As I understand it, these are being recorded. All the ESL Colloquium videos are being recorded and will be housed and shown on the Colloquium page. All right, now what happens when you enter the Zoom room? Well, you will see possibly a black screen with your name. So like this one, right here, it shows a black screen and only a name. In our group here today, do we see any black screens with just a name on them?
Yes.
We do see some. Okay,
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you can see a photo. So if I stop my video, can you see a photo of me?
Yes.
So my photo appears here because I set it up in my profile, and I'll show you more about that later because some of you still need to know how to do that. Now I can turn my camera back on. All right, now on the bottom left is the most important, are the two most important icons. One of them is the microphone, and the other one is the video. So when there's a slash through it, it means that device is off. So there's a slash through this one, that means the microphone is off, it's muted, and then there's also a slash through the video camera, and so that means the video camera is off. These are things you need to teach your students because they may not know that, right? You have to know bottom left. They need to know that. and they need to know microphone, and they need to know camera, they need to know on and off, and you might need to teach them things like mute and unmute, right? So normally we say turn on the light, turn on the microphone, but we also use the words mute and unmute. So these are, for beginners, might be new vocabulary, right? So you might need to go through that. Now from picture to video, how does that happen? In this picture right here, you can see that the microphone is muted and the video is off, right? And it says start video. So if I tap on start video, then video will come on. You will also see a little tiny red with a strike through it mic, which is another indication that the mic is muted or off. So there'll be times when I'm going blah, 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 but you can't hear anything I'm saying. And what would be the reason for that? Because my mic is off, right? Can you see right now, when you look at the gallery of people that we're looking at, we're together with, you will see that the mic is off on most of you because you're saving your bandwidth. and your sound is not coming through, right? Students need to learn that. Maybe some of them know because they're high tech and they know this stuff, but our low tech students don't know that. And so these are things that we can't assume that they know, but we have to teach them, right? If you want to stop the video, then you press this one and notice that it doesn't have a red X on it, okay? So after you click start video, then the slash goes away. So those are two indicators that the video is ready to go. Now, from silence to sound, well, you just click the unmute on the microphone, and then you get to hear the voice, all right? So you have voice and video together. To us, it may seem secondhand, but to our new learners, these things, if you teach them step by step, they'll feel more confident that they can get through and learn from teacher. Because some of you may feel nervous about teaching, but how do you think our students feel? Do you think some of them feel nervous about learning online?
Definitely.
So we have to try to lower the affective filter, let them feel that they can do step by step and get through it.
Marcia,
Yes, Nicole?
some of us have the predicament that the only way we can teach them Zoom is on Zoom. And so we're trying to figure out for very low learners how to get them on that very first time, which is next Monday. I'm wondering if you have any suggestions for that.
Okay, well, I will show you some screens that I hope will give you some good ideas about how to do that. Now let's talk about the ways that we can view people in the Zoom room. There is the gallery view and the speaker view. The gallery view puts us in a big grid. Well, a small grid. If you're on a phone, it's a small grid, maybe 3 by 3. If it's a big computer with a big screen, you can go 5 by 5 or even 7 by 7 if you have a huge screen. So that is where we get to see a lot of people all at once. But the speaker view is when there are 3 or more participants. The active speaker is displayed in the large video window, and the others are displayed in smaller video windows, which could be at the top or it could be at the side. You know what I'm talking about? Now, how about right now? In your view, you can toggle from speaker to gallery view. You should be able to see something in your view menu, which typically is on the top right. And you can toggle between gallery view and speaker view. Now, whoever blathers the loudest is the speaker, and that's the active speaker. So maybe in this case, I'm making the most noise and I am displaying in your speaker view. Is that happening with you now? Now, I have also experienced where people who are in the room don't realize that, and so they're making a lot of noise, whether it's English or not. The noise is causing the camera to follow. So sometimes we ask our students to mute themselves, or we mute them manually. So those are two possibilities. All right, so can you see gallery view? Let's see what happens. I'm going to open up my screen. See how many pictures how many people do you get in your view when you're on a computer? Do you get a 5x5 grid? I do too. Can I take a picture? All right, I'm gonna take a picture. So I'm gonna take a picture in 1, 2, 3. I got a smile for me. All right, so we get today's crew go 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, there's one. There's one of us. Okay, because we may have more than a screen can hold, then what do we do to get to the rest of them?
Marcia, can I ask a question? I'm sorry. Can I ask you? I don't see a 5x5 grid. I only see 5 on the top. And that was one of my main questions is do the students see what I see or not? So that.
Not necessarily, because the view that you are looking at yourself can vary. So each person can use a different view setup. So if you can go, okay, do you see wherever your pictures are, wherever you see you said you see 5 at the top?
Yes.
All right, in that window at the very, very top, do you see there's one little strip, and then there's a box, and then there's 2 strips like so, and then there's something that looks like a 3x3 grid? Do you see those little icons at the top of your window?
Not at this moment. Usually I do. But
Usually you do. But
yeah.
You mean it's hiding from you?
I guess.
Are you able to pull that window somewhere like uchi, up and downy? Are you able to grab with your mouse, your pointer, on the top where it's kind of black? Are you able to grab that bar and move it around?
I don't even see the place where I choose my view right now. So I don't know what it is hiding.
It's okay. So I've just stopped my share, and I'm now going to try to find something that will help you.
Now I see a gallery view right now. So
goody. It was hiding. You know, things, they just
Marcia, I did exactly what you told me to do, and that was brilliant, because before I saw was that you, Rain, that asked that question?
Yes.
Yeah. So before, I only saw a few people on the side and mostly your screen share. But then I clicked on your screen share, and I moved your screen share out of the way. Now, is that because I'm co-host? That was the question in the chat. Or I don't think so. I feel like anybody can do that.
Anybody can do that. So you know what happens is that there are these panels, for better, I'm not sure what the terminology is, technology, you know, like Zoom or what they call it, because a lot of apps have their own kind of terminology, what they call these window-like things that they can glue together or they can separate. So when you have your share screen, you can see something in the middle, and then there are other things that come up, like there's a chat panel, there's a participant panel, there's the view menu. So whenever you think that you haven't got what teacher says you're supposed to get, you can try going to the top of the window with your pointer and seeing whether you can grab it and go, and then sometimes what it does is it reveals something
Hey,
else.
Marcia, there was a suggestion in the chat from Lori. I think it's a good one, that you share your screen again so that we could all try to move it out of the way, because I think that's a really good thing to be able to teach our students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm sharing my screen, and you got this screen in the middle, and then what happened to your pictures?
So I had already made my screen smaller, my
Okay.
first screen smaller. So,
Mhm.
but I can drag and make it bigger or smaller. And then when I make it bigger, I don't see as many people and they're smaller.
Okay, all right. How about the rest of you?
Okay, I can see your share screen. I cannot move the share screen. And when I click on the grid view, I see six people.
Okay, so I want to know if the 6 people, I'm also seeing 6 people. When you see 6 people, let's see, there must be more than 6 of us here.
Yeah, 15.
So,
When I first,
after-
I was seeing the shared screen and it was taking up my full computer screen. Then I went up to the very top and it had view options. And right next to the green that says, you
Yeah.
are viewing Marcia Chan's screen.
Yeah.
So right to the right of that in black, it says view options. So I clicked on view options and then I went down and I clicked on one of those. So now I'm able to see Marcia and, you know, a total of 6 people along with seeing her shared screen, which I wasn't seeing before.
Okay, I just took a picture. I just took a screenshot. That maybe what will be better is if I show that. I'm going to stop the share of just my PowerPoint. And now I'm going to share with you, let's see, this screenshot. So in this screenshot, you can see it's a shot because nobody's moving on the right side, right? But what I wanted to show you is that at the very top, there are some icons. All right, and you can see that the icons are showing one square stacked on the other. So I'm going to show you in my whiteboard here that one of the icons looks like this, and next to it there is an icon that looks like this. Okay, there's also one like this. Okay, so on my board, I'm showing you, not drawn to scale, but I'm showing you that there are actually 4 icons. One of them on this side is like off, but this one shows a grid of 9. So this one will give you the gallery view. So if you click on the one that has a grid, it will give you the gallery view. This one, you can see the photos are going to be in a row up and down. So this will be, I guess, like we were seeing 6 in a column.
Masha, the 9 dots gives you what is called a grid view.
I'm sorry, say it again, please.
The 9 dots, when you
Yes.
click on that, it gives you a grid view, not a gallery view.
Okay.
I think the gallery view only works when you're not sharing.
It works when I'm not sharing. Oh, okay, so let me stop sharing and see what happens. Did I stop sharing?
I'm not sharing it,
No.
Angelica.
Okay, I'm going to stop
asking-
sharing. I've stopped sharing.
Yeah, now I can do the gallery view.
Now you can do the gallery view.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Very good. Now you
When
get
you're
to see.
sharing, I can only do the grid view, which is 6 people.
So 6 people in a column.
In across, like I think it was like 2.
Oh, okay.
4,
So
6.
mine was in a column on the right side of my screen, on my right side of my monitor, and sometimes it comes up at the top. So yeah, there's a limited number that you can see. There might be some arrows that show up that allow you to move on to the next group of people. So if I'm not sharing a screen, then you get to see everybody in this huge grid, right? Is that right? And it would look something like this,
Yes.
right? This would be the gallery view where you see 5 across and 5 down. And then if there are more than 25 people, there will be an arrow that will tell you one of how many groups of 25 are left. So in this instance, it looks like it's 1 of 2, so there are maybe 50 people in that instance. If it is a speaker view, then those photos or videos will show up in a row, like at the top. And one speaker's picture or video will display in the very center of this. So if I have my camera off, my profile picture will show up in the center of the black. And if my video camera is on, then my video will fill the screen. Now, there should be this arrow on the right, the blue one. And if you click the blue arrow, you should be able to scroll and see more participants. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Will you see more participants that way? Because that way you can see your students and where they are.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If I see the gallery of students, will they see the same gallery?
The view is on your own device.
Yes.
So no, the view does not change and show them that. Because I could be doing view in one way and you could be doing view in another way.
It's
Yeah.
up to the students to choose.
It's a user preference,
I see.
right? The individual user has the right to change what view to see. Because some viewers might want to see everybody and some viewers might want to see only the teacher, right? So that is also a possibility. There is something called pinning. Now, I want you to put in the speaker view. Can you go to speaker view, please? And when you're in speaker view, what happens? Who's in the big one? Who's in the big video?
The teacher is.
Okay. And then just for a moment, I saw Lori because she spoke. And so that took the Zoom will understand who's the active speaker and go to turn on that camera and put them in the middle. So when you are having a discussion and, you know, maybe somebody has something to contribute or they ask a question orally, then their picture and or video will appear in the screen. Now, if they just chat, you know, text, nothing's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? So some shy students may just want to do this thing, and then they will not, it will not show up that way. But this way, all right, now what about an instance of, and this has happened to us before, where somebody's mic is on, but maybe there are so many people and you don't have a moderator, and so you can't figure out who's making all the noise, and the video or the Zoom keeps going to that particular user, and the dog is barking or whatever. Of course, you know, these are things you have to teach them how to do, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Or some users aren't fluent enough in their own system, their device, their iPad, their iPhone, or their computer, that even if you tell them to click something, they might not know where it is, right? So you can mute them, but you can also, what I wanted to say about that is there's a way for you to pin someone to the speaker role. And if you go to a particular speaker and you go to hover over the top right part of the window, the video or the picture window of the speaker, there are several things that come up. Unmute their audio if they're muted, or mute it if you need to. Stop their video if something is, you need to have them stop. Maybe sometimes because the transaction is all, right? Sometimes that happens, you know, the technological issues, or maybe the bandwidth issue is like nobody's getting your teaching enough because there is a lot of stress on the digits going through the cables. You can also do something called pin video. So pin video means, for example, I'm just pinning Barbara right now. So I picked Barbara because I can pick on her. And so I said, I'm going to pin Barbara to my big window. Okay? So that's another thing that you can do. If you are experiencing, for example, in a conversation that although you want a lot of people to participate, maybe you're feeling troubled by the camera going bongity bongity bing bing bong bingity bongity bing between people and not keeping up exactly with their words, or you're just troubled by that for some reason you don't like it. You want to pin someone to the speaker. Then it's possible to do that by going from the top right part, bringing down the sub menu and doing pin video. Now, so for me, Barbara is in center, yeah, right there in center space. So I can do the unpin. Now the unpin icon is on the left side once I've pinned her. So I'm just going to click unpin, and then now it goes back to the default, which is follow the active speaker. Okay, do those things make sense? Is so far so good? Any questions on those?
Can you please show where is this pin and unpin?
Oh, in the picture.
Okay, so when you go to the person that you want to pin, all right, who do you want to pick? Who do you want to pin?
Jennifer Abel.
Okay,
No, I'm
so go to the top of,
can't.
okay, so if you're going to find the person you want to pin, go to the top right of their rectangular screen, and on the right side there are 3 dots. You know what 3 dots means? 3 dots, dot, dot, dot. What does dot, dot, dot always mean? There's more coming. You just have to click on it, and then dot, 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 more stuff comes up. You'll see a sub menu with some options that include pin video. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Then you can pin your friend to the middle. So students might want to do that for a different reason. I'm not going there. All right, back to how we are going to show students. We need to show them where these 2 toggle buttons are, right? So to change from gallery to speaker, then you click on this icon. And to change from speaker to gallery, then you click on the icon that has the 3x3 grid. And where are you going to find that? You're going to find that in the top right of the screen. The top right of the screen. So depending on the level of students you're working with, you're going to have to do some prep, right? And you probably don't want to teach too many things at once. So, you know, you're going to have to decide what your priorities are. Now, here's something that you can do with, I wouldn't do this so much with the low level students, but you know, your intermediates and so on, they can handle stuff like digital nonverbal feedback. Maybe some of you know this. And if you don't, you'll find out. Now notice in your toolbar, so here's the toolbar, right? This thing is a toolbar. You have a toolbar, you see where it says share screen. Do you see the button that says participants? If you click on that, participants, what happens? It opens the participants panel. Now the participants panel will say participants at the top of it. And in this example, it shows participants and then it has a number, which means the number of participants at the moment that this screenshot was taken. And at the moment this screenshot was taken, it also lists these people, because I was in a CATESOL organization, and then different people here. Now at the bottom of that panel are some colorful icons The blue one says raise hand. The green one is a check mark. That means yes, if you ask a yes or no question. And if you ask a yes or no question, they want to answer in the negative, they can choose the red X that says no. You can also have students try to tell you, slow down and go faster. So those are icons that they can use to indicate to the host, the teacher, about the speed at which you are presenting your material, whether it's like cognitively difficult or whether it is your language is spoken too fast, something like that.
So, Marcia, you have a star student, Nicole Behrens, who's telling you to go faster.
Is that right? Okay. So
Penny Lau also said go faster.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Penny Lau. I don't know if people are just testing out the feature.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay, now Penny Lau says go slower. Oh, I think people are just testing it out.
Okay,
so,
yeah. Why don't you just fool around for a while, because you're in a safe place. And you can try and put these little icons to work, right? So we've got 58 people in the room right now, and you can see the different icons and try them out just for fun. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Put them on, and you can do all these things, and you can see how they work. Yes. Now, one of the things about being a host or a teacher is that it's very difficult to keep your eyes on everything at once. Very difficult, especially if you've got one screen that shows your whatever you want to show. Like right now, I'm showing a PowerPoint to you, right? I'm sharing my PowerPoint screen. So I'm looking at that, trying to tell you what about it. And then on the side, people are going chitty chatty, chitty chatty, chitty chatty. And then people are putting icons in there. And it's really hard to follow, right? So normally, well, if you have a moderator who's telling you, Marcia, somebody has this such and such a question, then that's really helpful. In your real class for ESL, maybe you have an advanced student who says, watch out for what's in the chat panel and tell me if anything is important. You can speak up. But those are things that you may look at. And you may either teach your students to use them or not, up to you. So far, so good? Does that make sense? Okay, here's another thing that will occur in the...
Marcia, there was one question, I think.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Bojana had a question. Bojana, do you want to unmute yourself?
I'm just wondering whether all these features like go slow, go faster, all of these, are they available also on iPhones or and iPads? Because my students, a lot of them don't have computers. They're on the phone or on iPad. And I have used Zoom on the phone, but I haven't had the need to use them. So I cannot answer this myself now, but I'm just...
Right. Yeah, these are available on all devices.
Okay.
Whether you want to let them know about it or not, that's up to you. Yeah, you should be able to see it. Now,
thank you.
What about chatting? You know all about chatting. You guys are very chatty. You know how to do the text chatting thing, right? But our students may not know where to find it because every app is different, right? Every app has a different way of doing stuff. So we need to remember that our students may be new to Zoom. How does Zoom put the chat there? There is a chat icon that looks like a speech bubble, and when they click that, it will open up the chat panel if it's not already open, right? And then you type something in here, and then you click the enter button. But one of the things to also note is that there is a toggle a drop-down arrow that will go to everyone or to just one member of this audience of this particular group. So select send to everyone to choose for everyone to see whatever you wrote, and otherwise you go to the drop down and you choose somebody. Have you used that before?
No.
Okay, some of you are going, done that. Sometimes I mistakenly have something set to a person, and I send out something and the whole group says, well, what am I supposed to do? And I said, well, I put it in the chat. And I go like, oh, I put it in the chat, but only Barbara got it and Lynn didn't get it and nobody else got it either. So I have to go back and go, everyone, and then do that thing again. And then everyone will get what, you know, what my words of wisdom or my assignment. Usually it'll be, you know, some sort of a thing that I want them to do before maybe going into a breakout.
Question?
Yeah. Question, yes.
Yes, Joyce.
Hi, Joyce.
Is it your experience that the chat is useful on all mobile phones?
Yes.
Okay.
And I tell you, those who use mobile phones a lot are much better at this than I am.
Okay.
I mean, I've met people who say, oh, I would rather write my book on a mobile device. And I'm going, with these things? Not with these 10 things? I got 10 of them. And they're doing this. Yes, so they're pretty good at that.
And it's not hard for them to figure out. If they're good with their phone, they'll figure it out quickly.
Yeah, pretty much they know how to do, once they get into the chat function, then they know how to do the chat. But you know, there's all levels of technology, right? There's all levels of that. So you have to be sort of patient with those who are saying they can't find it. And you just have to help them through it. Okay, now do you know that you can save the chat to your computer or to your device? So at the bottom right, there's a little dot, 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 and a dot, dot, dot means what? It means there's more stuff. So if you go in there, you'll find something that says save chat. So if you are in any kind of a session where you say, oh, I really want to make sure that I get the words of wisdom that my colleague wrote in the chat, then you can save the chat and it will be forever on your computer. And you can teach students to do the same, because maybe your words of wisdom are things that they would like to save onto their device. Breakouts on a computer, I don't need to do very much with that because you already know how to do that. But one of the things that is important is that, two things. One is that when you get an invitation, you have to click join in order to go to that room. So the host is inviting you to breakout room number whatever, whatever, then you have to click join. You can't just sit there and go like, I'm not there yet. Well, you have to click join. If you want to click later, that means that you're going to stay in the main room and you can join later. Some of you were having trouble in this last breakout because you couldn't find the invitation, right? So it could be that it was one of those hidden things, that a panel or a window was covering up something else. Then you have to ooch things away, and then you can find that and then go like, oh, there's a join, boom, and then you go into that room. The other thing that's good to know is that you can invite, when you're in a breakout room, you can ask the teacher for help. So you should teach your students that they can ask for help by clicking the Ask for Help button. So when you're in a breakout room, you should see a little button that has a question mark, and when you click on it, Ask for Help, we'll send a message to the host, the teacher, that says, you know, somebody in breakout room would like you to join them. Okay, so from the host position, you can go into all the rooms, and it's kind of slow. You go into one breakout room, and you go blah, 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 or you just look, whatever, lurk, or you talk with them. And then you have to leave the breakout room, you go back to the main room, and then you have to go pick another breakout room to get through. So it's a little bit cumbersome. It's not as easy as spinning around in the classroom and just twisting your body and going to group A and group B and group C. And you can't hear anybody else, right? When you're in your classroom, you can hear this group, brrr, and that group, brrr, and that group, brrr. But when you're in breakouts, you only hear whoever is in that room, and you only see what's in that room, and then you have to leave it, and then you're completely in another cell when you go into another breakout. But that ask for help, ask the teacher for help, is important to teach your students. Now, here's something about the phone, right? So this is what happens when you're using your phone to access a Zoom session. So this is a picture of a phone, and at the bottom are the icons. The familiar ones are the microphone and the camera on the left side. The dot, dot, dot on the right will bring up this menu that includes chat. Okay, so that chat window is probably something you're going to want them to know about soon, so that they can type in their name, or they can type where they're from, or they can make a sentence, or ask their question, or contribute something to it. Okay, so in text they would type there, and again they need to select either send to everyone or send to just one person for a private chat. So after they type their message and they click send, then the message will appear in the chat at in the big space above. And they can close at the top left where there's a word that says close. It's a link, and that will close the chat to return to viewing you, the host, the teacher. Now, as far as breakouts go, they will also receive a message on their phone that asks them, that invites them to join breakout room number whatever. And they, again, in order to get there, they have to click the word join to join that group. So when you join a meeting from an iPhone, right? Let's say you're the student, you're looking at your iPhone, you'll get a message that invites you, and includes oh, sorry, this one is not about breakouts. This is actually about how they join your class, your Zoom session. One of the ways to do it is like this. So let's say they receive a meeting invitation by email, or maybe you put it in your Canvas and you have a link, right? Either one of those ways. So this link they'll just click on it, and it should take them to your Zoom meeting room. Or another way is that you may start or join by clicking the word join a meeting. If you are on your phone, this is what it looks like. This is the icon of how all these things are connected. And then right here it says join a meeting. So you can join a meeting without a link, but then you have to type in the code and the password. I doubt that you're going to do it that way though, right? You're probably going to do it the way that they can just click on a link. Am I right? You can do it the easy way. Let them just click on a link someplace from your Canvas or from an email. All right. So what about the video and audio functions and renaming from an iPhone? All right. So if they have to do the manual method, they could enter the meeting number, and if there's a password, they would put it there, and then click join. There's an option at the bottom right to turn off the video when they join. Now, why is that? Now, you know the students are using phones. Some of them may be in Wi-Fi, and some of them may not, and they may be using their data. And if they're using their data, it costs money. So you have to be aware of those sorts of issues with the students who are trying to conserve and actually get some instruction from you. There's a place for them to put their name in, or to rename. Some of them, it'll show up as whatever the name of their phone is, but I notice that some people don't name their phone, and it just says phone. Okay, so sometimes you will get people in the room that just say phone or iPhone or something like that, and they need to learn how naming or renaming happens in order for them to show their real name, so you know what to call them. All right, so there is a button for them to rename, and then when they're finished, they just click on the done button. That's easy.
Hey, Marcia, there's a question in the chat.
Okay,
someone
thank you.
Would like to. David, did you want to unmute yourself if you didn't get your question asked? Answered, I'm sorry.
Hi, thank you, Nancy. Yes, I was just wondering if you could tell us the difference, please, between chat and something like Pronto, Remind, some of the discussion forums and how they differed. Like I know discussion you use for a weekly discussion, and they have a while to post. But the other ones you're showing us, chat and this and that, which goes where? When would you use which one when?
Okay, thank you for your question, David. So what I'm showing you here is the chat function in Zoom itself. And this is what they would use when you are doing a live session. So right now we're doing a live session, right? You are able to listen to me and see my screens and hear my voice. And if I were to chat something, well, like I put the Google Doc link in there, then you would be able to do that chatting. And you guys are able to type in this into the chat window at this time. So this is the only time you would use the Zoom chat, is when we are doing a live lesson. There are a lot of other functions that are available, say in Canvas or in other apps, which we're not talking about today, which you can do either live or asynchronously. Like you could give them homework to put something on a discussion board. I have another session on that, but we're not going to that one right now. So we're only talking about what you and the students can type into the chat panel while you're doing a lesson. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Now, the students also need to know how to start and stop their video from an iPhone. Thankfully, it's in the same position, left, bottom left is where they will see. Now, interestingly, when you're on a computer, you see the icon as a microphone. La, 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 teachers talking, even speakers talking. But when people are on a phone, they will see a headphone icon. Do you see that headphone icon? Because maybe they'll start out listening. But anyway, that is the icon that they need to look for. Remember, slashes are red, means not or off. And so in this example, the camera is off, it's red, and there's a slash through it. When they enter the Zoom room, they will be asked to join audio to hear others, right? So clicking on join audio, they have an option, you will have an option too, to go through internet audio or to dial in. I usually recommend just using internet audio, but sometimes that internet audio is not working well and they will need to dial in. That's why whenever we get a Zoom invitation, besides a link, we also get a whole list of telephone numbers. Did you ever use any of those telephone numbers? Fortunately, where I'm sitting, I've been able to have good internet. But I also was at a conference with somebody who was the presenter, who somehow their internet was not working on the day at the time. That's caused panic. But what we did was we had her call the number, and so at least her audio came in. So that might happen with you or with your students, because we don't know what condition they're in electronically and digitally and internetly. So those are some options. All right, so once they click on that, then on the headphone thingy that says, yeah, connect me to the audio so I can hear everybody, then what happens is it changes into a microphone. Because at that point, once the audio connection is made, then they can also participate by voice. Now, if they see something that looks like this icon, where it looks like a round head on a molder, this means the host is not yet in the meeting. And you just have to wait until the teacher starts the meeting. Because like some of you who came in early, you had to sit in the waiting room for a little bit. Sometimes students will also want to line up early and get there before you, the teacher, has started the lesson. And it might look like that.
Hey, Marcia, there's a couple of chat questions in
Okay,
the chat.
sure.
Nicole, did you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah.
I just missed when students, the slide before, I think, how can they rename themselves on a phone? I didn't.
Okay, so they can go to the rename. All right, right over here, if I log in with my iPhone, because I have named my iPhone. I named it Marcia's iPhone 11 Pro. That's what I named this device, okay? Because I've had different iPhones over the years, and I've had the iPhone, I don't know, 8 before that, and before that was a 6, and before that was a 4. So I renamed each time my phone so that I could keep track of which one was which, you know. So that's what mine says. But some people don't name their phone and it just says phone or iPhone. Maybe that's you, I don't know, but maybe that's a student. So whatever shows up here, if you're happy with it, then keep it. But if it shows up as gobbledygook or anonymous, then you will go in there and strike that out and type in something else and then done. And then it renames it. Okay? Do you know something about setting up as a host? Like when you're a teacher, you got to get all your stuff ready and you have to figure out, what do I have to do in the system to get my class started? So let's go over some of those things. So you need to have an account. Now, all of you in community college have an account with Confer Zoom, right? Okay, some of you don't.
Marsha, we should, but there are actually presenters here today from City College that are presenting at the Colloquium that have not yet set up their Confer Zoom account. So I'm assuming there are also other City College professors and maybe other people out there that have not set up their Confer Zoom account. I did want to say that is going to be essential to have that Confer Zoom account for Canvas, for using Zoom from Canvas. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, good. Thank you for saying that. So I'm not in the Confer Zoom window because I wanted to show in general. Like there's some people who are not in the community college system. So if you're not and you have to set up your own, or some of you may have more than one account, like yours truly. So the way I did it was like this. I went to the zoom.us and I signed up for an account. If you are a community college professor, you should go through Confer Zoom and your account should be there by going to CCSF and then you should be able to go from there. I don't have the screens for that, but I bet there's somebody on campus who would show you how to do that. If you're not on Confer Zoom, this is the way you would do it. You just go to zoom.us, you say, I want to sign up for an account, just like you do for a lot of other apps, and you do that sort of thing. Okay, now, profile.
But one clarification, Marsha. So if we set up, which us City College people should not be doing, but if we set up a free account on Zoom, it will limit us to 40 minutes, and I have been cut off after 40 minutes.
Okay, so 40 minutes is the basic. If you want to pay more for Pro, but why would you do that if you've got an account with Confer Zoom, right? So, okay, CCSF people and all those people in community colleges, you just got to get on Confer Zoom because then you'll have the whole Pro system and the whole California community college system to back you up, and that'll be the best thing you do. You can do this if you. I mean, why do I have one? Well, I don't know. Why do I have a lot of email accounts to do other stuff? So I'm not advising that you do that. I'm just saying this is what you can do. And especially if you're not a community college instructor, then this is what you would have to do. And you have 40 minutes lessons or time for your basic account. And then you pay some shekels to get, unlimited, the Pro account. Good. All right. So how about your profile? I highly advise that you put a photograph, okay, a photograph of you so the students will know you and recognize they're in the right place, okay? So you can just upload your photo from your computer, right? You just click on change this photo and you can change it out every month if you want, put a new hat on every month if you'd like, but that's one of the things that I highly advise you to do. Your information, I'm sure you know how to fill in all the information about yourself. What else? You should also be aware of how to set up a meeting. So at the top, there is a place that says schedule a meeting, all right? So if you click schedule a meeting, then it'll ask you, well, when do you want it to be? And then you put in the start date and the start time, and then you ask, it tells you all of these things that you need to do. So here are the things I'm going to point out that I think are important. You need to enter your topic or your class name. If you wish, you may enter a description. That's up to you. Maybe you put we have class names that are ESL 970, blah, 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 blah. And then you may want to put the long thing in the description. That's up to you. You want to put the time duration besides the date. And it'll probably just stay in Pacific if that's where you are right now. That'll stay there every time you log in. But if you happen to go somewhere else, which has happened to me, I've been in another part of the world, then I have to make sure that I put it at the right time zone for where my students are. For example, when I traveled to China, I had to go like many hours difference before I could sync up and make sure that I was getting my students in at a time where they thought it was reasonable and that I was actually awake. Okay, so video of host and video of participants, you can toggle this on and off. You can put audio. I usually recommend that you allow both the telephone and the computer communication. There are some other options that you can allow or disallow. You allow it by clicking on the button. Enable join before host. So what does that mean? That means that people can come into the room before you've actually come into the room, right? So maybe you would like, you know, if students come in early, they can chit chat and blah, 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 and, you know, like, you know, bond with each other. And then you come in and say, okay, class is ready to start. You can do that if you wish. Like if you're setting a family meeting with your Zoom, I mean, like, I don't care. I don't have to be there to listen to all their chit chat. Wait, you can do that. Or you can disallow it and say, no, I feel better if I'm in the room first, and then I let them in. So that is an option that and you can try it out. It doesn't have to be the same for every single meeting that you have. You can try it out one way, you can try it out the other way and see how you feel more comfortable or your class feels more comfortable. Muting participants upon entry just means it turns off their microphone and they have to manually turn it on, or you turn it on for them. Now there's an option to pre-assign the breakouts. Remember, you know, we were talking about that. That means you know your class, well, probably at the beginning of class, you don't know. You got all these people on your roster. Do they all come? Maybe not, right? And then people are adding and people are dropping and all that stuff. But you might finally get a roster where you go like, I finally know who's in my class. I know how many there are. And today, or for tomorrow, or for the next session, I want to do it so that these people are together and these people are together and these people are together. So you can set it up in advance if you wish. You can pre-assign them. Then there's the option to record the meeting automatically. Now, there are two things that happen that you can choose. Either it automatically records to your computer, your device, or it records to the cloud. If your provider allows for cloud service. I believe that for Zoom we do have that we can record and they have big space and your class can be recorded, and that therefore you can link directly to that recording and you don't have to touch it at all. For me, I record if I want to record anything, I record stuff onto my computer because I often edit the videos before I publicize them. I mean, gee, I have to make sure I've got the right shirt on or something like that before I, you know, put it up there. So those are options that you have. If you don't put recording automatically, can you still record? Yes, because on your toolbar, there is a record button. So you don't have to set it up to record automatically. And sometimes you don't really want to record stuff. You want it to be interactive and not have anybody worry about, you know, like, am I going to be on camera or not, right? So that's your option. Some other settings that might be helpful are for you to allow start with videos on for hosts or participants or not, right? So what's the difference between on and off? The students who are on computers and they're sitting in their offices with wide broadband, no sweat. The students who are on their little dinky phones and they're trying to get on with you, you probably don't want to use up their bandwidth, right? I would say that probably your participants should be given the option to turn their video on or off, depending on kind of what situation that they're in. And then this is also where they get to, you can allow them to join it. There's a bunch of other options too, but I'm just pointing out some that I think are key for you to set up your class. I usually say, yeah, sure, allow chat to all. Otherwise, it means they can't participate at all this way. And I think, oh, it's like, time putting gloves on, putting mittens on their fingers. No, let's not do that. Allow the chat. So I think that allow chat is good. Allow private chat means that they can talk to each other. But if you find there's too much going on between students and they're not paying attention to you, then you can say, you know what, I'm not going to allow that. No private chatting. If anybody wants to chat, it has to be to the whole group. Auto-save chats means that when, let's say that you're on auto record. Well, it also saves a chat to your server. Why not? I mean, it doesn't cost you any more, and for Zoom's got the space, why not have it auto record, auto save your chats? Because sometimes you forget, right? And this one means that you don't have to remember, it does it by itself. Play sound when people join or leave. So when people join or leave and the sound goes on, you hear a ding. You have a ding. Every time somebody comes in the door, there's a ding. Every time somebody leaves, there's a ding. And who can hear it? Everybody in the room can hear it. So you might like that. You might find that annoying. You can turn it off, right? So those are your options. File transfer. What does that mean? When we're doing, right now, when we're doing a live session, we can send files to each other in the chat. So, for example, what happens right now? Okay, let's see if I go to my chat. I have to open up my chat. So I have to go right now because I've got so many windows open. What I had to do was I had to go to my menu bar, which is now at the top because I have screen sharing on. And at the top, I have the dot, dot, dot. Remember, and dot, dot, dot means more stuff. If you click on it, there's more stuff. And one of the stuff things is chat. So now I've just opened my chat panel and let's see if I select everyone in the meeting, and let's say that I click on that file icon, and let's say I send you a screenshot. Okay, so now this screenshot, 1.44 megabytes, which tells you the date and exact time that I took it, is going through the pipes, and you should get it in your chat and you should be able to open it and see it. And it's the same screen test that I showed you when we were looking at how to look at the view of people, right? So file sharing is that. That is file sharing in the live chat. You can decide whether you want that to be available or not. I mean, it's really handy. You might want to send out a file to somebody. And students can also send files to one another. Allow co-hosts, I did that, and it has its benefits because people like Barbara are helping me going, oh, there's a chat here, and somebody wants to speak up. Allow polling, I did that, and then I made the poll, and then allow hosts to put on, I have never used this one, allow hosts to put attending on hold. That's if you think there's a bad person, and then you want to smack them in the face or something like that. I don't know, I haven't used it. But I think that's.
Hey, Marcia, there was a really good question, and I suggested that David maybe try doing it. I hope that was okay.
Okay, what does Dave want to try to do?
Do you want to unmute yourself and ask your interesting question?
Hi, I was just wondering if students can send speech files.
Oh, don't do it here. Don't do it here. Don't do it here. No.
No, no.
It's possible, but don't do it. You know why?
Why?
Okay. All right. I'll tell you why.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, let's say you have a piece of spaghetti. You know how thin spaghetti is? Okay, sending a text is kind of like that. But when you get to audio,
okay,
then it gets wider. And when you get to videos like big fat lasagna, it takes an enormous amount of bandwidth. And that means that you'll be shoving this huge video file through the chat window to all of the people, like 100 people in this chat room. Don't do it. Because I'm on a high a broadband. But what about our students? Remember our students? What are they using? And they're not using the 11 Pro probably, right?
Marcia?
No, don't use that. So I'm going to show you another way. Don't
Yes,
worry.
tell me. Yeah, I was going to ask. Yes. What would you
I'll show
recommend?
you another way, okay?
Yeah.
So another way to share would be by doing a share video. We're gonna do that. Let me go
Okay.
through the more Zoom settings, okay? And then
Sure.
we'll practice with some other stuff. Because I know
Okay.
you're itching to practice.
Thank
So we'll scratch a little bit and then we'll get you in some breakouts where you can practice. All right, so what else do I want to show you about Zoom settings? You have to decide whether you're going to allow screen sharing with your students having the option to share or not. So it's either going to be only the host shares, or it's going to be all participants can share. Now, what are the pros and cons of that? Well, sometimes students yank the stuff over and you didn't really want to look at their stuff. And sometimes they don't even know what they're doing.
Hey,
There are
Mark.
people who don't know what they're doing and they accidentally touch on the screen share and they share something that they really would rather not have shared.
Hey, Marcia, what about co-host? What if we make the
Yeah, the co-hosts have the same permissions. So once you're a co-host, then you're like a host. I mean, what do they call it? An alternative host, so that you have the same permissions.
Well,
So
wouldn't that
it says host only would be you and me and Win in this.
Right. So wouldn't that be like, let's imagine I want my level 5, 6 students to do a short video or share something. Wouldn't that be because I can do that during the class meeting. I can make the student that is going to do a presentation co-host, and then he can,
Yes.
Are you recommending that or no?
Well, you can do that. Yes. I was trying to do the basic stuff, but yes, in the more advanced way, you can do it like Barbara just said and do it on the fly and give somebody a co-host. And that's probably for the advanced student who knows what he or she is doing and will do it at the appropriate time with the appropriate material showing up on everybody's screen. Yeah. Okay, I just want to let you know, sometimes it doesn't work out the way you anticipated. And I'm just trying to giving you some ideas of how you might limit the amount of things that can go wrong, especially when you're working with more beginning students. Annotation, which we're going to practice a little bit, is like drawing on the screen. And yeah, why not allow it? I think that's a cool thing. Allow the whiteboard, why not? Yeah, you should have a whiteboard so that people can write on stuff. Allow remote control. I don't even know what that means. I'm trying to remember what that means. I'm going to skip that part. Allow nonverbal feedback. Yeah, those are the emoticons. I showed you those things earlier. So yes, why not? Well, of course you can decide not to, but I did. Breakout rooms, of course. What would be ESL without breakout rooms? So yes, that's an essential part. Now, a lot of you want to know about sharing the screen, right? So share screen, you'll see the green one. And the green one has an arrow going up, which means whatever you share there is going to go up to the big platform where everybody can see in the biggest window. That will give you several options depending on what you have on your device. In my case, it's my Mac. You will be able to select an application. So I've got 3 browsers. I've got a Firefox browser. I've got a Safari browser. I've got a Chrome browser. I've got a PowerPoint screen. I've got iTunes. I've got so many things on my screen, but it has to be open at the time. Otherwise, it will not show up in the options, right? You can share a single document, not the whole app, but just one document. You can share a whiteboard. You can share the entire desktop. I don't recommend that, but sometimes it's okay. The entire desktop will also show the Zoom. So it'll show you Zoom inside the Zoom, which is kind of redundant. So I don't usually do that. But sometimes I do that if I want to show 2 apps side by side or the juxtaposition of a couple of things. And if you are techie enough to figure out how to associate your phone or your iPad and connect it up to your screen, then that will also be an option. Now, if you're planning to share music or a video, in other words, sound that comes from the computer, then you want to make sure your shared computer sound is on so that participants can hear the sound coming directly from the video or audio and not through the microphone, through the speaker and the microphone, because then, you know, then it gets kind of gravelly sometimes.
Can you please say again how to share computer music or music?
So let's do a couple of things. We're going to practice, all right? We're going to practice doing a few things. I'm going to demonstrate a few shares, and then you're going to go into your rooms and you're going to try a bunch of shares, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint screen. So I'm clicking on the red stop share. And now you see me big and big and big and big in the middle because I have stopped sharing my screen, right? Now I'm going to share something else. I already shared something with you. What did I share with you earlier? Do you remember? Who can remember what I shared with you before? I know it's so long ago, not a whole hour. What did I share? I shared my browser. I also can click on another tab. Do you see something else in my other tab? This is in my Chrome browser. Do you see, did that change for you?
Yeah.
Did it change or not change?
Yes.
Okay, so right now, what are you looking at?
YouTube.
Okay, so it's my YouTube channel, right? This is my Pronunciation Doctor YouTube channel, right? It's got a lot of stuff on here. And now what do you see?
CATESOL.
Right, you see the CATESOL homepage. And we have lots and lots of upcoming events that you are all welcome to attend. We have got a lot of great things coming up, and we have a lot of resources for online training and all sorts of good stuff. So that's what I'm showing you now. And then when I click on another tab, it'll show you, oh, this is I was looking in my drive, my Google Drive, because I wanted to find the what do you call it? The Google Doc that we entered all that good stuff in. Now I stopped share, and let's say that I want to show you, what would I want to show you? How about if I show you, if I wanted to show you a video, right? Somebody wants to know, how do you share a video? Well, the video has to be, I have to have already queued up my video, right? So I bring my video in, it's either going to be a video that's on my desktop, or it's going to be a video, let's say, from YouTube. So if it's a YouTube video, then I have to open my browser, I have to find the video, I have to start the video, I have to go past if there's an ad, I have to go past the ad until I get to the beginning of it, and then I go, okay, I'm ready to share. So I just did that, and I'm going to click my share button, and I'm going to click back on my browser, which is the Google browser in this case. And now what do you see? You see a video, right? Now what happens if I click the play button on the video?
You want to understand and speak English more clearly, phrase by phrase, pronunciation in American English.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing that one. Did you get an example? Did the video show up?
Yeah.
Did you hear the sound and see the video going?
Yes, and students can make their own videos, their speech presentations.
Right, they can make their own videos and they can show it from their own device, because some of them will make it on their phone, and some of them will make it on their iPad, and somebody will make it on their computer. And then they'll be able to actually show it to the whole class or to their small group.
No, I'm sorry, where will other student, where is that sent and where is it seen? On the Canvas or on the Zoom?
All right, so when we're in Zoom, it's live. We are doing this synchronously.
Mm-hmm.
It's only happening as we speak, okay? So if I show you this whole video, it'll finish and then it'll be done. and you won't see it again. It's not saved on anybody else's screen. It's just showing you. It's just like if I took my phone and I played a video and I said, hey, look at this, look at my baby, this is my grandson, blah, 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 and then you put the phone away and then it's gone.
So Marcia, where would you suggest, if you're saying to the students, I want you to make a 3-minute presentation about your background and send it in, where is it seen? Where do other students go to see it? Where does it go and where do students go to see it?
Okay, well, that is a question that has many answers. All right, so one answer is they can show it during a live Zoom session, and afterwards nobody sees it at all. Okay, they have to be there to see it. You want to see David's video, you have to go there live at what time the teacher's on and says, now it's time to share your video. And that's when you'll get to see it. So teacher says, you're going to make a video and you have to upload it to Canvas and you're going to put it in our class.
Upload it to Canvas. Okay, thank you.
So you send it to us and then it lives in Canvas. And when it lives in Canvas, then anybody can see it on their own time. Right? They can just click on it.
Okay, both. I want both opportunities.
So that's the best way. If you have Canvas and you have a class where you want everybody to do a video, then you have them upload it to Canvas, or some people who know how to do YouTube and put the link in there. In any case, it all along, and then the teacher, you get to go through and they'll mark them, like just, or make comments about them orally or in writing. So that would be a Canvas thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Marcia.
Okay. All right. So what else? Now I want to share with you a whiteboard. Oh, what's up there? Do you see a whiteboard? I see a very whiteboard. Now, what happens when you open a whiteboard? You will get some annotation icons on a bar. Mine is showing up above the whiteboard. And there are different icons which help you understand what they are. In fact, what I'll do first, before I do the whiteboard, let me stop this share and let me start another share, because I will tell you a little bit about the icons, and then when you have a go at it, you'll know what they are supposed to do. Okay, so when you're doing the screen sharing of a whiteboard, there's an annotation screen that'll come up, and you'll see that there's a mouse to deactivate your animation tools. There's a T for text to insert text. There's a squiggly, which means draw. You can draw some pictures, arrow shapes, and there's a spotlight, which works like your cursor can look like a flashlight or a spotlight on a particular thing. There's also formatting colors, so you can change from red to green or whatever you like. There's some a place, the garbage can, which means you can clear your screen from your annotations. Now I'm going to go back to that screen, share screen. I'm going to go whiteboard, and when I share whiteboard, what happens? You get this, right? And if you like, you can take a tool and you can take a stamp. And for example, if I take my star stamp and put stuff here. So I'm going to let you folks go into groups and breakout rooms and fool around with screen share. Okay? Ready? All right. I'm going to put you into rooms. And you're going to find the invitation and go join.
There we go.
Ask, and then we can.
Well, if people could maybe in the chat then just put some comments. If you went to colloquium sessions today, I'd love to hear. Wynn and I did not do a formal feedback form, but we'd love in the chat, or you can feel free to send Wynn and I an email. I'll put that in the chat. Wynn, should we do the CCSF email, or do you want our private ones? Our, not private, but our CCSF email, personal ones. Is Wynn with us? Is he?
Maybe
muted?
not. Why don't you
I'm
use your,
muted.
I think you should probably use your CCSF ESL Colloquium one.
Yeah.
Probably the best.
What is a Zoom room, by the way? Is that different than what we've been doing? I saw the term Zoom room.
Well, that's basically what we're doing now. Okay, so through the through the California Community College system, it's called Confer Zoom, or some people have heard say Confer Zoom. Which
yeah, we have Confer Zoom on our Canvas. That's right.
Right. Okay, so Zoom and Confer Zoom means the same thing. It just means that it's been relabeled for the community colleges.
Okay.
So.
And Zoom room is also different, or is also the same?
For all intents and purposes, the same.
Okay. So again, if you want to meet a student, or they say they want to meet you at a certain time, you just say you
right. Like if you have office hours, have you set up office hours yet?
I haven't. I wanted to ask you. So let's say you set up office hours. Let's say an hour a week on Monday and Wednesday, for example. And so are you just available then, and students may drop in, or or have an appointment?
Yeah, that's what an office hour would be like. Like you set up your time, you are there, you're available, your audio and maybe your camera's on, and when people want to ask you questions, they know they can pop in and find you then.
Okay.
But they're not there for you to expound.
Or you can make appointments with them.
Yes, or you can make appointments. Exactly.
Okay. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
You've been great. Okay.
I think I'll say sayonara, arrivederci, and see you again.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I gotta stay awake long enough to be here tomorrow at 3. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Also, you want to do that now? Marsha.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, I'll do it.
Marsha.
We'll do that.
Thanks so much, Marsha.
All right.
Yeah, that was so amazing.
Thanks,
We
everybody.
Can't thank you enough. Looking forward to tomorrow.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We'll
We
give it
so appreciate your expertise.
Thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Come back
Thank you
for
so
more
much.
tomorrow if you're interested.
Marsha Chan presentation. Sorry,
Marsha.
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 It was
Marsha,
fabulous.
can I-
Question.
Thank you.